Thank you. NOTU, you introduce the head of delegation, introduce your colleagues, and then proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable members of Parliament who are here. For the two committees, first of all, allow me thank you for giving us this opportunity to appear before you. And I want also in a special way to thank our member, that is Honorable Byakatonda, for also ably always representing us ably in this parliament.
And he really tried. He wanted you to appear much earlier, but the time couldn't allow.
Chair, before I proceed, allow me introduce my colleagues. As you know, this is a Labor Week, and so we are deeply involved in so many activities in Buikwe and Anjeru. So our delegation has been ably depleted, and today is also Occupational Health and Safety Day. So it was a big challenge for us to appear today, yet it was very important. Allow me, Chair, my name is Richard Bigirwa. I'm the Secretary General of the National Organization of Trade Unions, NOTU. With me, I have 5 colleagues. One on my extreme right is Twaha Sempevwa, the head of the NOTU Electoral Commission. We also have Sister Aneno Catherine, who is the coordinator of the East African Industrial All Unions in East Africa. With me also, I have Treasurer General of the National Organization of Trade Unions, NOTU, Brother Mauku Richard. I have Sister Natasha Sharon, who is on the NOTU Committee of Women. And I have Madame Chandia Christine, who hails from Hospitality Hotels Union in Uganda. Chair, first of all, I would like for clarification to address the fears one of your members has been tackling. NOTU is a national center of Uganda, and it came in existence in 1973 under the Amin Decree, later under the Labor Unions Act of 2006, now CAP 228, and it is a legitimate center under the Labor Unions Act of Uganda for avoidance of act, and it represents the workers of this country. It has 2.7 million subscribing members, but it represents the entire population of the country. It is a member-based organization with 39 affiliates across all the trades, teachers, doctors, wherever. We cover all the trades in the country. And under the legal framework, definitely under the AU Protocol on Labor, the ILO Convention 87, which gives us freedom of association, Article 5, and also Convention 98, the right to collective bargaining actions and the right to be represented. Locally here, we have our Constitution, Article 29 and Article 40, which gives us the right to exist, and also the labor unions, CAP 228. All the above instruments give us the freedom to associate and to affiliate internationally, to access international solidarity and support, participation in policy formulation. Chair, we have appeared before most of the committees of parliament here to try to influence policies which favor workers in the country and also to promote the decent work in the country. Chair, under international affiliations, we come NOTU is an ILO constituency in Uganda, and Uganda is a member state of the ILO, and therefore NOTU speaks for the workers of Uganda at the International Labour Conference and all conferences in the world. Also, NOTU is affiliated to International Trade Union Congress of Brussels and one of Lome, ITUC International, and also is affiliated to ITUC, East African Trade Union Congress, based in Arusha, and OATU, Organization of African Trade Union, based in Accra. I'm giving all this to show our connection with internationals, because this law is saying whoever has a connection with internationals is an agent. So, as the law says now, we are agents, but I believe the law will not come to pass. Secondly, locally here, as NOTU, we are regulated by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, because the Registrar of Labour Unions does the supervision of all labour unions, and we do submit returns annually to the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, including all external funding we get, we disclose to the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development under the auspice of the Registrar of Labour Unions. So we are registered under that. The law as it states now, the bill is quite unfair to the workers of this country, I must say, because we depend on the international solidarity in whatever challenge we get. So I believe that this joint committee will go a long way to analyze this bill ably so that the workers of this country are not disfranchised of their rights to freedom of association and freedom of speech. First of all, we have looked at the law, Section 1, as a general comment. All laws which come in force at least must originate from the Constitution. We have looked at the clause where it has originated. We have not been able to see. I will not go into a lot of details because many, especially the Interreligious Council, spoke our mind. And we believe that we should be only able to point out those issues which we feel concerned us, which the Interreligious Council did not touch ably. And I will give my colleague also to make few supplements. One of the unfortunate things which is talking about, we are looking at this law, there is something to do with disrupting activities. Legally, under the Constitution, workers are given freedom and the right to strike. So we are wondering if this bill comes into the law, that means that we shall not have the freedom of speech, including the freedom to strike, to withdraw labor according to law. That is number one. Number two, we would like also to point very clearly that in the Public Order Management Bill, we were exempted from that bill. And it is Article Section 3, Section 3C, we were exempted. Therefore, we are saying, at worst, if this law is to pass or this bill is to succeed, trade unions should be exempted. Because already in Public Order Management Bill, we have been exempted because we need to enjoy the freedom of association and the freedom to strike. Also, would like to look at the case of migrant workers. Currently, Uganda is sending 3,000 workers, migrant workers, 3,000 workers out of the country monthly. So if you look at these numbers and the remittances which are competing with the export of coffee, this kind of revenue is going to be affected grossly. And therefore, as workers' representatives, we believe that this law in its current form should not be passed by these two committees. Also, we are looking at prohibition and economic sabotage. In the same way, under the freedom of association, that means any attempt we do to express our freedom as workers, we shall be sabotaging the economy. And therefore, we shall be liable to imprisonment or pay 400 billion, 40 billion. So this one also we find it very encumbering on the workers' side, especially if we are to enjoy our freedom of association. I have also highlighted to you, especially on clause 22, on restriction of funding. I would like to state that I've read to you different partners. All these partners have helped us to organize workers in the country, including the freedom of speech for them. When you restrict funding to only 400 million, this is just a drop in an ocean according to our activities countrywide in the country. So this capping of funding is really a disaster. Secondly, we are also wondering that government gets a big substantial funding, especially from International Labour Organization, close to 300 billion annually to support the workers of this country. And this all, we don't know whether government is also going to become an agent of the International Labour Organization. All these are issues we have looked at as workers, and we believe that this bill in its form will cause a lot will affect productivity, because as workers' organization, we do a lot of awareness, including child labor protection. A lot of funding has come to protect this country in the child labor aspect. All these will be affected. Chair, my colleague will do more, but I want to look at the impacts. The informal sector, which is being supported by NGO, and the workers in the NGO sector are grossly going to suffer. We are crying about the youth unemployment. We have had a lot of issues, and this support has been coming from outside to support youth unemployment. All this is going to go to the drain, and we don't know how our economy is going to be affected. The gender issues which are being funded by the internationals is going to be affected grossly. Occupational health and safety issues in the country, which in the end will end up bringing up a lot of issues on the medical sector. All these have been supported by international community. All these are going to be affected. The digital platform workers, most of these digital platform workers are across border, and their bosses are across the country. And this is the new sector where most of the youth are being employed, especially the platform economy and the gig economy. All these are going to be affected. Chair, I want to give my colleague opportunity just to say a word, two colleagues of mine, then we can conclude. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity given to us. And thank you, honorable members of parliament. I just wish to add my voice to the Secretary General's submission. One is to state that Uganda, being one of the member states of the International Labour Organization, among other UN agencies and other international bodies, there are several standards, conventions, treaties, protocols, recommendations that Uganda is signatory to, and which, if this bill is to pass into law, is actually going to abrogate many of the provisions of the conventions or the international standards to which Uganda is a signatory. And that will create a new phenomenon of problems. So it is important that you as legislators try to address yourself to the issues of the international standards which Uganda is signatory to that have effect to what this bill is proposing. Two is that workers' organizations, the trade unionists, They are highlighted, some of them in the presentation. Number two is that trade unions are a member organization, and we affiliate ourselves, our organizations, to various international federations or international trade union organizations, to which we subscribe. Every trade union in Uganda registered that has affiliation with an international trade union organization pays money periodically. And equally, those organizations pay money back here in the form of grants, in the form of projects. And if these are projects, you submit a concept with a budget, with strict money lines. And we have a fear that if this bill is to be passed into law, with the level of corruption you are aware about as legislators in this country of ours, where we are being sent to go and line up somewhere to clear these monies, the organization will give you 10 million shillings to conduct an activity. Do you think in the current situation you are going to go to somebody in the Ministry of Internal Affairs and they clear you these monies free of charge? We know what happens here. We are Ugandans like you are. This is going to cause us a lot of issues. We are going to make money for individuals in the Ministry of Internal Affairs. And the next thing that is going to happen, every time people will be coming here to file petitions about what is going to happen, while you are making a lot of money for individual people the other side. So we totally object to this.
Are you talking about corruption?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh, my mind had gone to fees, licenses, and all that.
No, for me, it's about corruption. If you are clearing 1 billion for me, do you think in this Uganda of ours, somebody will clear that money and doesn't ask for money from you? So, some of these things, let us suffer the disease that we have had without again subjecting us to new. In conclusion, I want to state more things. One is that while this bill initially could have targeted mainly politicians or people that are politicians or apolitical people, organizations, when you look at the details of the bill, 90% of the people it is going to affect are actually not politicians, but the ordinary Ugandans. The organizations that are doing the right things for Uganda are going to suffer more. And the bill is silent about people who own trillions, but here, they are here with trillions. And they can also influence decision. They can also choose to use their money internally here to do what the bill is trying to cure. So if it is only money from outside, we might achieve what we don't intend, what the bill did not intend to achieve in practice. And finally, while as workers, while we have been grappling with the government over the issue of minimum wage, which has failed you as Parliament to deliver, over 40 years now, we don't have a minimum wages act. You attempted and passed one. It was brought back, claiming that minimum wages act will discourage investment. This bill, if it passes into law, it will discourage not only investment, but also employment creation. With this, definitely. So with these few, in addition to the various points that have been raised here by the Interreligious Council, by the Governor Bank of Uganda, and the various witnesses you have listened to, it is our prayer that this bill be set aside. And at the worst, if it is to happen, if it is to be passed, trade unions should be saved, or else we shall definitely go and cry where we do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Did you say there was another official? Mama, use 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for giving me this opportunity. And good afternoon, honorable members. Thank you. I just want to add my voice to the colleagues that on the impact of the bill to the trade union fraternity. The bill will violate the trade union rights to freedom of association and collective bargaining, which is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. And you know very well now that we have the vulnerable workers who are working in the factories, and their rights are already being violated, and they are earning very little money currently. So if the bill is passed the way it is going to violate our rights, and even it will affect the productivity. Of course, the trade union and its members will work with the solidarity partners, as my colleague has said, and we have also the international trade union agreements that we sign with the multinational, especially when it comes on the issues of workers' rights. And in this case, we may end up losing numbers of the multinationals, companies that wants to invest in our countries, and we need to ensure that we scrutinize this bill and we don't rush to pass this bill. The bill will also stifle the trade union advocacy for the labor rights, as I said, on the freedom of association, because we can easily be branded like we are sabotaging the government activities. And yet we are doing our work, and we have been mandated by the Constitution to do it. The trade union are already registered under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. And of course, we do the annual returns, and the registration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be a duplicate. And the trade union members are also workers in the foreign companies. And any restriction of these companies will directly affect its membership, because we depend on the membership locally here by organizing and recruiting our members into the trade union. So immediately, this bill, if it is passed, as I said, in this form, it will really affect our work. The trade union in Uganda also affiliate and work directly with the Global Union Federation, like Industry All, which the Secretary General has mentioned. And in this case, the Industry All and other partners, they support our members by training on occupational safety and health, the gender-based violence, and the advocacy, whereby when it came to the Convention 190, in this example that I'm giving, we did a lot of advocacy, and this convention was ratified by Uganda government, and it was adopted to stop violence and harassment in the world of work. Now we are in the process of domesticating this convention. What will happen if this bill is passed in this form? Mr. Chairman, I want to stop here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Toto. Yeah, colleagues, we can now interject.
Chair, as we conclude, Our prayers are very clear that one, we are saying that if the worst is to come to the worst, please exempt trade unions from this act. Number two, you should look at the Constitution and the ILO Convention. We have cited 87, Convention 87, 98, and 114, so that you don't contravene with the ILO Convention. Two, the duplication, we already registered, as my colleague said, and we submit returns. It will not be useful for us again to go to internal affairs, submit returns, do what, register fresh. That's why we have our own registration center, different from the Bureau. So we believe that that does not concern us. Next is that it is better to protect the fundamental rights and principles as you proceed around collective bargaining and freedom of association. E is revise the funding restrictions. The 400 million is nothing, and therefore would request this should not pass. Instead, we should find other mechanism of curbing that through financial intelligence and other areas, that there's thousands of immigrant workers out of the country. We should feel like Ugandans and make sure that they are protected as this parliament proceeds with this law. Otherwise, on our side, we say that this law is not required. We should just strengthen other laws which we have in force if we have any challenges, especially regarding security. Thank you so much.
Pano Fox Wilfred and then Muliama Mukono North.
I only dig them, but of course I also eat them.
Then I will.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair and Brother Bigirwa, permit me to play devil's advocate. You suggested that we can possibly keep people who are engaged in politics in the armpit of this bill. We exempt trade unions, but people who are involved in politics, we keep them, if I heard you correctly. Now I ask the question. The workers have about five members of parliament. How do they get elected into parliament if you don't engage in politics? So I'm only suggesting that you make a very weak case for your exemption because you actually engage in politics. So if you concede that participation in politics is a qualification for inclusion in the operation of the bill, then you fall squarely there. But more importantly, every human being is a political animal. So you have ably made the case that we should probably capture every human being in the armpit of the law. What is your comment?
Chair,
thank you, Honorable Chair, and I want to thank the team for the presentation. I want the lead presenter to consider the provisions of Article 21 of the Constitution, equality and freedom from discrimination, vis-a-vis their prayer that they be exempted. So if we exempt trade unions and leave those who have said, those involved in politics, incidentally, the the bill does not even define what amounts to political activities. Won't that be discriminatory? Won't that law be discriminatory and therefore contravene Article 21 of the Constitution? Secondly, you've mentioned the big number of employees you have in foreign-based companies here and those abroad. As representatives of workers, have you envisaged the kind of traffic jam, human traffic jam, attending to the ministry headquarters on a daily basis to seek for either approvals, certificates, and the like, and the kind of economic loss people will suffer wasting time at the ministry, leave alone the bribes that you may have to pay to have your applications and certificates processed?
Thank you, Honorable Wilfred. Maybe Mr. Bijirwa should also tell us, other than the 5 members of parliament, you, the leaders, were you also elected? Oh. Okay. That's it. Honor.
Yes.
Yes, Honorable Awol.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I want to appreciate the presentation of NOTU. I was part of a committee which worked very hard to let minimum wage see its light, but it never saw light. And that was in the 9th Parliament. But now the speed at which this particular bill is being hurried, and here you say
Honorable colleague.
Exempt trade
Honorable
union.
member.
I am talking
Are you
about.
raising the issue
I'm
of
talking
speed to
about
the
trade
stakeholders?
union. I'm talking about trade union.
But the speed, is it?
The speed, yes, the speed at which this one, and yet the most important ones
That
have
one you-
always
you-
been left
you
out.
raise with
But
us.
this one I am addressing.
Okay.
I'm asking.
Proceed.
I'm asking a question about the they have been exempted from Public Order Management Act now. And you are asking also for trade union to be exempted from this in case it will go through. How about what will you do if you will not be exempted and they will insist on this bill to go through with your very big number, because the membership is up to over to what? Not inciting. What will they do? Because they are exempted from Public Order Management Act. But if they are not going to exempt you from this one and it's going through, what are you going to do since you have been allowed to strike, to demonstrate, and to do things which should protect the rights of people, freedom for all? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I have not heard something, I don't know whether I didn't pick it, but I didn't hear something to do with our sons and daughters who are working in the Middle East, people working out of the country. I don't know whether they are under you, and what you have to say about their relationship with us, their parents.
Thank you. We can now respond.
Okay, thank you, Chair and the honorable members of Parliament. I will begin with the last one about what are we doing to our sisters and brothers in the Middle East. NOTU has taken a lot of initiatives, and right now, 2 months ago, we even established a call center and I think all of you have tested it, including chat box, whatever. We are able to get in touch with our brothers in the Middle East, and I want to assure you that the situation is not normal, because within 1 week we had got 3,000 complaints from the Middle East, and we got perplexed. So we are doing our best, and some of these cases are not ours. Others we do refer to ISO, others to the ministry, others to the embassies. So we are struggling, but the challenge is very big, and we are praying that we overcome it. So on that one, we are doing our best, and we are in touch with most of them in the Middle East.
Can I seek clarification on that? Through your chair. Yeah, you know, this matter is very serious about our sons and daughters who are working outside the country. I would like to find out from you, do you play any role in the recruitment of those people and taking them outside? And we have many companies who register those people. And do you have any influence on those companies who are recruiting our daughters and sons, taking them outside Uganda?
Honorable Chair, my concern was in regard to this bill, how they would be sending their money, how they relate with us. That was my concern.
I think, Chair, I did highlight it. That is how it is a challenge in my write-up. And I've said that that is the reason we don't support this bill, because it is a big challenge to them. Then on Honorable's question is that definitely we are in touch, but one of the key areas that we have memorandum of understanding with UWERA, that is the umbrella organization of all these recruitment agencies. And we do participate in trainings when these pro-boarding, before they go abroad, and we interact with these workers. So with the new dimension of call center, we are able to give them our contacts, the chat box on WhatsApp, we are able to give them numbers, so that when they get problems, we are able to trace them wherever they are. But maybe this is outside the discussion, but the biggest problem which is having is that workers, when they reach abroad, they escape and they want to cut corners, and that is where we are having the biggest problem. Like we have 143 in Cambodia who are stranded. They are now in the shelter, and many others we know, but we are in touch with them. We know the situation. On the issue of exemption, my brother Cox, honorable member, I think I used the word that at worst, that means we don't support the bill. We are saying at worst, if the worst comes, but the best is that this bill, we have other legal frameworks which can address this matter. If they are weak, they should be strengthened. That's why I use the word at worst. We should be exempted. But I do not mean that let us leave others to swim, then we leave ourselves inside. Then I think, what else was there?
Make your concluding remarks, closing remarks, final prayers.
Okay, my prayer is that let's strengthen other legal frameworks.
He has not responded to my issue of, in case it has to be pushed.
What will you do?
What will you do?
Well, what I must state again is that we have come here several times on different laws, especially on the one of TVET. We were not even allowed to put our views. And therefore, the whole ball is with you. It is you to decide whether this law passes or not. So it is not within my hotspot. But what we can do, obviously, our role is to continuous advocacy. We shall continue advocating for it to be
both local and international.
And
Thank you. NOTU.
I can.
NOTU. Yes,
and of course that will be economic sabotage.
We are appealing to ILO Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. NOTU, thank you for your views. They are definitely going to be considered by the committee. And I think I want to request Honorable Byakatonda